Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. Today we're going to be talking about cleaning glass, and we'd like to thank Teaching Feller, who gave us a 5-star rating and review in iTunes, and also bought book 3.
Wow, thanks.
Over 3,500 years ago, glass objects were being created in Egypt.
Like tiny little pyramids?
Right. And archaeologists found a glass-making manual that dated back to 650 BC.
Wow.
Pliny the Elder, the Roman historian.
Yes, everybody knows that listens to our podcast about Pliny the Elder.
He talks about glass being made from sand and how cool that is. Mm-hmm. And then about 100 AD, Romans were blowing glass balls. You know, they're creating all these objects. And then they figured out that they could flatten these, and they started creating the first windows for buildings. There are a lot of different techniques and cleaners for glass, and one thing I was curious about was like the whole thing with newspaper, like cleaning your glass with newspaper. And one study I found, newspaper actually has fibers that are more rigid than paper towels. Mm-hmm. So when you tear a paper towel, that's what causes lint.
Okay.
And with newspaper, that doesn't happen. And also they said that newspapers are very absorbent, so it's actually very good for drying off your windows. And now
So they should actually make like a newspaper that's on a roll.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Wow, $1 million idea. Most newspapers
they probably
now
sell more than they do now, right?
Yeah, reason to make it to keep that company in business. Most newspapers now are using a soy-based ink so you don't get the black marks on your hand. And one formula I saw for using with newspapers is 2 tablespoons of vinegar in a gallon of water. You put this into a spray bottle, you spray that onto your window, and then you rub it off with newspaper.
See, if it was on a roll, it'd be a lot easier.
Surgical towels are popular for cleaning windows. Sometimes they're called Huck towels. And Huck toweling used to come in those rolls that you'd see in the old public washrooms to dry your hands. You know, where you'd pull down the cloth and you'd dry your hand, get it rolled up back into that machine.
Okay.
Did you ever see that when you were a kid?
No, because I'm like a lot younger than you are.
It was weird. You'd pull this towel down and you'd wipe your hand.
And everybody else would use the same towel?
No, it rolled up. And then when it was done, it would turn like a color, like you'd see it'd turn like maybe a blue stripe. And then they know they'd have to replace that. And then they would clean them. And then they'd put this roll back in. You'd pull it down, dry your hands. And the bottom of it would loop down and roll back up into the machine.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting. I used to have that. You know, in 1921, the first electric hand dryer was invented, and it would blow warm air out, and you would use a foot pedal to turn it on and off. Anyway, surgical towels are pure cotton, and they're made for cleaning surgical instruments, and window washers, car detailers, and commercial cleaning companies love these surgical towels. They say they leave no lint, and they're very absorbent.
It's almost like a shop towel, like that thickness?
Yeah. It's almost, some of them almost feel coarse. Not coarse, but they're thick, they're solid. You know,
So are they soft?
Yes, right. Well, they're soft, but they don't feel fluffy.
So like a shop towel, right?
Exactly like a shop towel. And they do a great job of drying windows and cleaning. Cloth diapers are rated very good for window cleaning and microfiber cloth. And the synthetic microfiber is very absorbent. It absorbs about 7 times its own weight in moisture. And the ends are all splayed out, so it's going to pick up and trap dirt better than cotton. And most glass cleaning companies say that smudged or dirty windows can be cleaned entirely with just a good microfiber cloth and water.
Oh, really?
So they're suggesting just take a spray bottle, mist your window with the water, and then just use a microfiber cloth and scrub it, and it's going to pick up everything and dry it without leaving streaks. And most of these microfiber cloths can be washed hundreds of times.
No, nice.
And the way you want to wash this is in cool or warm water, 105 degrees or less. You never want to use bleach or fabric softener because it's going to damage the ends that pick up all the dirt and debris. And you wouldn't want to wash this with any other material like cotton because it's going to pick up and hold all the lint. You're going to ruin it. You want to tumble dry on a low heat, and you never want to iron them because you'll ruin the tips. Sea sponges are good for cleaning dirty windows, wiping down window frames, wiping off squeegees. There's no lint. And sea sponges are natural sponges. They actually come from the sea, and zoologists are now classifying them as an animal with no brain, digestive, circulatory, or central nervous system.
Okay, so how is that an animal?
I don't know. And it's been the argument for years, but now they're an animal. And in nature, they have this hard outside protective layer. They attach themselves to something, and then inside, it's that soft, porous thing that we
Spongy
use.
material?
We use as a sponge. And they take water and nutrients in, and they release waste through these pores, and they can actually regulate the amount of water flowing through your body by, just adjusting these openings. And when they're harvested, fishermen leave about an inch, and then they'll actually grow back, and they say that they're bigger and healthier when they grow back.
So the animals grow back?
yeah, there you go. And sea sponges have enzymes in their structure that inhibit the growth of mold, mildew, and bacteria. If you use paper towels, look for something that says lint-free. Bounty was rated very high for its strength and not tearing easily when they're wet. And when paper towels tear, that's when you get that lint. Brawny is rated very durable, and Viva was rated high for cleaning glass.
Have you spelled it all in this episode?
V-I-V-A, Viva.
Thank you.
Professionals prefer a squeegee to dry windows and remove moisture, and this does a great job on windows, shower doors, mirrors, tile. You can use it on car windows. It's very fast and effective. There's quite a variety of squeegee material and sizes. You can get neoprene, silicone, vinyl, or rubber blades. And there's a variety of sizes. And when you replace your squeegee blade, you want to make sure you look at it, because the frame that holds the squeegee is going to have a T-shape, and then the blade itself can have a T-shape. It can be round, standard, or have a wide body. So when you pull it out of the frame, you need to look at it and match it up. And you want to replace it also. When it starts to curl, it's time to replace it. Some of the top-rated squeegees, Ettore, and this had
that?
Ettore, and they had the first patent on a T-handle squeegee in 1936, and they're still one of the top-rated companies. Oxo, O-X-O, Claret, C-L-E-R-E-T, Unger, Libman, Simple Human, and they have those really cool garbage cans.
Right.
Jet Clean, and Karcher. And Karcher's interesting. They've got a kit with two tools. They have a spray bottle with a cloth scrubber on it that you get your window wet and you scrub it. And then they have a squeegee with a vacuum to suck up the water that you're squeegeeing off so it doesn't drip down the frame.
Nice.
So that's pretty interesting. And when you're picking a squeegee, you want to get a size that's comfortable to control. It fits your project. If you have windows with different small size panes, you'd want to get a small one or a larger one if you don't have small windows. 7 to 14 inches is the most popular size. To apply a cleaner to your windows, you can use a spray bottle, a strip washer, or a sponge.
A what?
A strip washer. This is a long cloth, so it's like usually a microfiber scrubbing pad, and it's held by a T-bar.
Okay.
So it kind of looks like a squeegee frame.
Oh, okay. So this is like on the other side of a squeegee.
Well, some kits have both, or some squeegees will have this scrubbing bar, so
Right,
this
on the other
strip
side.
washer on the other side, exactly. So you can dip this in, and you can scrub your window, and then just flip it around and use your squeegee. And when you're dipping a sponge or your strip washer into a bucket of water or your cleaner, you want to squeeze out all the excess and then scrub the glass. If you have any hard particles that won't come loose when you're scrubbing, then you can use either a window scraper or a single-edge razor blade to scrape it off, and it's really handy for like paint drips too. I would always use a new blade and make sure the glass is wet. You don't want to use a razor blade on dry glass. And when you're buying a razor scraper, I would get the heavy-duty type, because those single-edge scrapers in those really cheapy handles, the button will just push out and your blade will just go inside the body. So I would get a heavy-duty scraper.
Okay.
Some of the top-rated glass cleaners: Windex, Stoner's Invisible Glass Cleaner, Glass Plus, Sprayway, and Method. And Method was also rated as the best-smelling glass cleaner.
Good to know.
And it's considered a green cleaner, so it's very environmentally friendly. Some of the top-rated homemade cleaners: 1 cup of rubbing alcohol, 1 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, and then you put this into a spray bottle.
I bet this doesn't smell good.
Another one that was very popular: 1/4 cup of white vinegar, 1/4 cup of rubbing alcohol, a tablespoon of cornstarch, and this is supposed to reduce any streaking, and then 2 cups of water, and then put this into a spray bottle.
Hopefully a separate one.
Another one is 2 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, and 10 drops of essential oil from a lemon. And then a recipe from Mary Maids, 3 drops of Dawn dish soap in a gallon of warm water, and then put this into a spray bottle.
That would be the best smelling one.
There you go. Most professional window cleaners like a strip washer and squeegee for the cleanest windows, and most pros like using just a small amount of dishwashing liquid in their water. That's their main chemical. You don't want to use too much. Some pros recommend 5 drops, others a squirt of liquid. And then this is going to
The precise measurement, a squirt.
And this is going to cut through dirt, grease, and grime, and it also helps the squeegee glide as you're pulling off the water. To clean your window, you're going to take a wet towel and wipe off the frame, and then you're going to use your strip washer and scrub the window. If you have any particles or debris left, you're going to use a scraper and remove them. You want to make sure the glass is wet. And then you want a dry edge to start using your squeegee.
Okay.
So one technique is just take a dry cloth, extend your forefinger, put the cloth over it, and you're just going to use the tip of your finger, and either completely at the top edge you're going to wipe all the way across, or you're going to start from the top and wipe all the way from the top to the bottom on one edge. And this is where you're going to start your squeegee.
Okay.
Or you can use the squeegee. Let's say you have a big window, it's up high, you have a squeegee on a pole. You're going to just use the corner of the squeegee to create a dry edge. And this is called cutting in. If you have your dry edge at the top, you're just going to start with your squeegee at the top. In that dry edge, you're going to pull straight down, and then you're going to wipe off your squeegee with your towel. You're going to overlap it by about 2 inches, and you're just going to keep working from top to bottom all the way across the window, and then you'll wipe the excess water from the bottom. If you created a dry edge on one side, you're going to start from that. On the very top of that, you're going to work from, let's say, left to right. You're going to wipe off your squeegee, you're going to overlap it by 2 inches, and then slowly work down, and then dry off. And if you're inside, a nice tip is just roll up your towel at the bottom of the frame, and it's going to catch any of that excess water.
So you're not dripping all over your walls?
Right. Once you get good with the squeegee, then you can use some of the professional techniques.
Ooh,
so they
exciting.
won't remove the squeegee from the glass. It's pretty wild. So they'll use their strip washer, they clean it, and then they start from the top, and they come from left to right, and then they start swirling it up and over. It almost looks like a reverse pyramid shape, like once you get down to the bottom.
Would this be the super swirl?
Right, yeah, looks really cool. So you got to go online and Google the super swirl with a squeegee, and that's the ultimate in
You
cleaning.
have some very nice drawings here, by the way.
Thank you. And then in the future, scientists are working on self-cleaning glass. So they're creating these 2 types of coatings. Hydrophobic coatings that won't allow water to be attracted to glass. Dust and particles won't stick. And hydrophilic coatings that actually, water drops, once it hits it, it causes it to spread out and pull up anything that's on the glass.
This is a good use of our time, our research.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything else to add?
I would say if you've never owned a squeegee, to give it a try. You can get them very inexpensively, especially if you just want to try a cheap one, just to see whether you like it or not. Great for windows, tiles, shower doors, and fogged up mirrors. Really does a nice job.
Good to know. Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, the Spotify mobile app, and the Google Play Music app, and iHeartRadio, and others.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our books, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, on Amazon.
Books 1, 2, and 3. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.